And get started on our work session.
Refund request is the
Yeah,
first.
thank you.
Yep.
First thing is the refund request.
So this comes to us from MIU. They have probably 100 accounts. I'm not sure. A lot. And there's a couple accounts that they had unintentionally overpaid on, and 2 active accounts, and 2 accounts that have been finaled. We just haven't gotten through the finaling process. So they were requesting a refund of their overpayments plus the 2 final counts altogether. I did list this on the agenda as an action item if council so chooses to act on it tonight.
This gives you an opportunity to ask questions so we can make the meeting go a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, will our new software kind of prevent this huge balance?
No, not necessarily,
Necessarily?
because if they tell us to apply it towards that account, then we apply it towards that account.
Sure. Okay.
And then it just sits on there as a credit.
We don't really ever question it.
No, because we do have people put money on accounts if they're going out of town or items like that. But normally if they direct us to put that on their account, we do it.
Okay. Any other questions, council, regarding this
What kind
refund?
of question should we ask?
Whatever you wish.
Is this could happen again?
Yes.
Is it typical or normal for it to happen?
Not normally, no.
Are these
I
funds?
think it was just like I said, it was unintentional. I think it was just a mistake, and I believe it's been caught.
Are they current on all other accounts?
Yes.
Okay.
So these are funds
I
due
guess that's my own
to the
question.
university?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we done this before? Did you say?
We did it for one person because they overpaid. I think they paid us their electric bill amount instead of their water bill amount, and they requested a refund, and we did that. It was quite a large dollar.
I kind of remember
A
that.
couple of years ago.
Yeah. I forget who it was, but
A year, maybe just a year or 2.
Yeah.
Time flies.
yeah.
So that has been done. It is this active account with the 7,000 on it. Normally their normal bill is $40, so it would take a long time to eat that credit up.
Any other questions or concerns?
No, it seems like it's pretty straightforward what to do.
Okay. Let's move on to the Public Arts Committee. And I know this came, while I was gone, came to the council and to economic development. And I'd just like to backtrack just a hair. We've had a Public Arts Committee for quite some time, and what I did is expanded it to represent many of our arts organizations. So that particularly on public city property, we have some cohesiveness. That was the whole idea, is to have cohesiveness on public property. And if sculptures or anything that was donated to the city, there was also create a plan of how that would be taken care of. Does it belong to the city? What about insurance? What about upkeep? So many cities have a master arts and culture plan so that, again, their community is cohesive on what they're putting out there on their public properties. I know a few years ago we wanted to apply for a grant, but we really just didn't have a plan. It was related to the parking lot that's catty corner to the Blue Rose Ballroom, and we just didn't have a good vision of what that should look like. We put together one really quickly, but we ended up not getting that grant. But so that's the idea ultimately behind this commission and creating that. Now, I do want to preface that also there are certainly private buildings that someone might want to do a mural or something like that. I think it is still important for the commission to, in some ways, separate that. However, give guidelines. So if somebody wants to put a mural, does it, again, fit in with a whole kind of cohesive theme, whatever that is. And so at any rate, Terry's here tonight. And Terry, do you want to add on to that and talk about some of the things that you guys have talked about and kind of get us up to date? By the way, she does have some old minutes. I know when they first started, they just had some documents that they discussed. And so we'll make copies of any documentation that she has and get that to you, each of the council members.
Were those minutes part of the city council minutes or meetings?
Not tonight.
Okay.
We're going to get them.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get them to you. So that was, I'll take responsibility for that. I can't remember if I ever asked, make sure those come to the council.
Sure.
So,
Yes, and we were formed about March of last year, I believe, when we actually had our first meeting in April. That was our first meeting, was to basically introduce ourselves to each other and get to know each other and kind of just start brainstorming ideas. From there, we have had 3 other meetings, one in June and one in July, and then also in February. We did have some email kind of correspondence in January when we discovered that there's someone who wanted to put up a public mural, and so there was a discussion that, hey, we need to get this application maybe rolling along, and so we worked remotely on that kind of to get that put together. So basically, we are from different art organizations and different organizations throughout the community. We are here to serve the community and serve the city to make sure that we maintain our heritage and our reputation as an arts community, and not so much to put a rubber boot on things and say, no, you can't do these things. It's mostly to say, hey, if you're going to do something and donate to the city, these are some requirements that we need. We need to know how it's being funded, how it's going to be insured, who's going to maintain it, that sort of thing, so that the city has a better idea. I find in the past, as we did a lot of research in other communities and what they did with their public art commissions. And we found that a lot of communities started these because they had some issues that went really bad, really south. And so they would come up with these particular guidelines. So that's basically what we have been doing, is doing a lot of research on that. You'll see in the documents that you receive, there is nothing that has been finalized except for our public art application. Nothing's been finalized. We've spent a lot of time brainstorming how far out should we go with what we're talking about, what should we talk about people who want to paint electrical boxes somewhere in the alleys or that sort of thing. So there's been a lot of conversation about that. Our goal is to basically come up with this plan, this arts and culture plan, that will help Fairfield maintain that and promote, expand that reputation as an arts community.
So I was looking at the Beautification Commission minutes for
Yes.
this evening, and they note that they've set up several subcommittees, one of which is Design and Aesthetic Subcommittee. And in their committee goals, it noted to provide guidance on public art placements. How would you, and flower displays and holiday decorations. Second goal was to collaborate with city departments on design consistency and visual improvements, i.e. Public Art Association, I assume they mean Public Art Commission, paint color for gazebo, plans for roundabout. So do you anticipate working with the Beautification Commission, or how that interaction, do you have any idea how that interaction comes
Possibly,
about?
this is all news to me.
Right.
I think there is some tendency sometimes for the beautification to kind of expand more and more into things that they feel need to be beautified, which is pretty awesome. So we're open to anything that we need to be doing. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense to be redundant and to duplicate work. So if that makes more sense for beautification to take all that on, we could be very happy to pass on our information and let that happen. We actually feel that we actually have an amazing commission of people who are actually artists, who work in the art field, who organize art, who create art, and we feel we have a really good commission to actually make these decisions in a way that would be really valuable to the community.
I think going forward, we're going to have some discussions because what we're finding is there's some overlap. And with certain areas, also maybe getting out of our lanes a little bit. So do we need to pull anybody back in? And where also does, a certain committee house? Is it city or is it now under Main Street? So I think we're going to be having some of those further discussions.
Okay. I was going to think, is a thought maybe to meet with and speak with Beautification Commission, or do you prefer the avenue that you're speaking of, which is?
I think that'll become a little bit more clear in the next month or two.
We do have someone from the Beautification sitting on our commission. We also have someone from Main Street sitting on our commission. So we have a good representation from the different organizations to make this work.
So hopefully that person representing that organization will take that information back and prevent cross-contamination, if you will, particularly on projects and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really important is that we find ways that we're working together. I think one of the things I'm noticing is there's oftentimes, whatever the reason is, that people like to own things and move forward with them without really considering, is this being done anywhere else? Who does it affect? How do we work together on these things? And I think one of the things that we have at our priority list is we don't feel like we're an island or we're something really special. We want to be able to intersect with building owners, with artists, those kind of things, as well as the other organizations. We need to be pulling in the same direction on these things.
And that was the reason also that I put somebody from each kind of art organization on this commission.
I see.
So that there was crossover and communication flowing back and forth, and hopefully not stepping on each other's toes. And ultimately, in my view, it's a good thing because we're doing some, I think, good work for our future.
And we have to learn
Future
to
of the community.
compromise.
Yeah.
It's good to have the energy out there.
Yeah.
The attention on it, yeah.
So let us get the documentation to you, and then I think the next step is come back to that application that you want the
Yes.
the council to approve. Would that be okay, council? Maybe on the next agenda we bring that back?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Do you want me to leave these with you?
Yeah. And I can get those back too if you want. If you need them.
Them all digitally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. We'll make sure that everybody gets that. Alrighty. So we have, 16, 17 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Thompson,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
Gandy,
Here.
Ferguson.
Here.
Counselor, any changes to the agenda? Anybody have anything? Other than, we have taken off, as you'll see, many of the resolutions for the tax abatement applications have been stricken. There's more work to be done before they come back. So those are all deleted for tonight. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the February 23rd, 2026 council meeting. Approval of the February 27th, 2026 payroll in the amount of $154,523.67. Consent of noise exemption, park use permit for Artwalk from 6 to 10 p.m. for June 5th, July 3rd, August 7th, September 4th, and October 2nd of this year, 2026. Acceptance of Beautification Commission minutes. Acceptance of the Economic Development Committee minutes. Resolution of employment in the Park and Recreation Department. Approval of ACH payments to our Department of Revenue in the amount of $22,652.41. Approval of total claims in the amount of $185,787.83. We did not have any claims over $75,000 this time, which is nice. So I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Moved by Toohill, second by Ferguson. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. I was reading the Beautification Commission minutes. I assume they're going to come before the council to have a discussion about a couple of things that are noted in their minutes. They mentioned, for example, a subcommittee called Friends of Fairfield, and in those minutes it noted they're going to promote memberships, give members only behind-the-scene tours, negotiate discounts at partnering nurseries and local shops, organize member-only volunteer events with refreshments, and manage Friends of Fairfield beautification membership and adoptive project programs. So I guess I'm assuming they'll be speaking before the council. My question is, are they going to be taking in funds or membership or something like that?
I know there was discussion about creating a 501c3. Do you know where that's at with them?
We're still having discussions with those because those sorts of things, we discussed that with our auditor, and we as the city cannot do that. So we have more discussions that we have to we'll help facilitate that, but those funds cannot be taken through our city coffers.
At this point, I think the idea is if a program like that goes forward, the funds will go through the Cultural Alliance, which is a 501c3. So I don't think there's any taste for nor necessity to create another 501c3. So if there's anything like that that's going to happen, I'm sure it'll come before us and we'll pass on it. Then
Okay.
An existing 501c3 will
Okay.
be the fiscal
Yeah,
agent.
great. I guess just keep the council informed
Yeah.
as we go forward.
Yeah, there are just there's a few things they've mentioned in minutes, so it's great to have such involvement and such commitment from their members. That's laudatory. I'm sure they'll be coming before the council because they're quite ambitious, which is great. So we'll be hearing, I'm sure, more from them.
Okay, great. Okay, any other discussion points?
I did review claims and they all seemed in order.
Okay. Anything else? No, please call the roll.
Toohill,
Yes.
Ferguson,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Esti.
Yes.
Thank you. That was consent agenda approved unanimously. We'll move on to public forum and appearances. Tonight we have Daryn Hamilton to come talk to us already about Kids Day Parade, Collector Cars Unlimited, and First Friday Cruise Nights.
Council, thank you for having me here tonight. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have Kawanis Kids Day coming up on 9/19, September 19th, the third Saturday of September. This year's theme, and I'm sure a lot of people have already seen this because we've had it out on our Facebook page for quite some time, is Keys to Kindness. And we were hoping that we could get some really good looking parade floats out of that and some great ideas from kids and whatnot. We also are very excited that not only do we have a builders club at the middle school now for Kawanis, but we also have a key club at the high school. And they've also been working with the Rotary Club's Action Club that's at the high school as well. And so they're looking at some joint projects together, but they do independent projects from Kawanis itself. We help them out if they need help with anything. But these kids are taught what it's like to be part of the community and help out with different projects and come up with projects on their own of what they want to do. And money that comes through from us at Kids Day from selling pancakes, it helps them if they need starting money for projects. So we're really proud of that we've been able to get those two organizations going here. Years ago, back in the 60s, they had a key club here in town, but things happened and it went away. So did the Circle K that was at the university at that time, Parsons College, but that has gone away. We haven't had a Circle K club for a long time. That would be another one we would look at. But I have to say that the community really came out in support of us last year. We had more floats and participants in the parade than I have seen in the 28 years that I've been a Kawanian here in town. And of those 28 years, probably 26 of them, I've been up at the parade head trying to get everybody out of the parking lot. And it's a fantastic thing to see that. And the number of people that were along the route all the way through downtown, I would say had a number in at least the 8,000 to 10,000 range this year.
That's great.
It was huge. It's great. And we love putting this on and we want to continue doing it. And we would like to use the square, restrict parking starting on Thursday morning where the tent is being put up, and then Friday night going out and blocking off parking spaces along the north side of the square and the remaining parking spaces south of where the tent is on the east side of the square. And just that little quarter of a block on the west side of the square at the north end. We usually try to block that off so that we have room for our pedal pull trailer and pickup truck. They bring all their equipment set up there on the square. So that's what we would like to see for Kids Day. Next would be our Collector Cars Unlimited. I'm also a member of that club. And I enjoy that very much. But the car show is September 20th, 9:20, and we start in the morning, usually letting cars in at about 8 a.m. And that goes until about 4 in the afternoon when we're finally done with trophies and picking up all of the barricades and things that we put out. But when we ask for use of the square on Sunday, we want all the streets around the square itself. None of the side streets going north or east-west, just on Main, Broadway, and Court. And that has worked out really well. It brings all of the cars into an area where everybody can see them without having to go up side streets. It makes it look more full. We had probably 98 cars last year at the show, and we're hoping that'll go up again. We've had as many as 120 cars come for the show in the past, but we can fit those all in that area without having to go down side streets. Now, I've also put an application in for noise because we use a DJ out there on the square, and usually the DJ starts at about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning and then goes until we're done announcing the winners in the afternoon. And like I said, we'll be done with that and hopefully cleaned up and gone by 4 o'clock on that day. So it's just that time frame in the morning.
Okay.
And the final thing would be the First Friday's cruise nights. This is something we started here just a couple of years ago now, and it's starting to catch on a little bit. We're getting better word out that this is going on, and we would like to close the parking just on the inside of the square on 3 sides, Main, Broadway, and Court. I've worked it out with Marla. Marla loves that we bring cars in for that. It adds to the flavor of those 2 nights. The first one would be June 5th, the first Friday in June, and the second one would be August 7th, and that would be the first Friday in August. So those are the things that I'd like to talk about. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer it. I always work with the police department for the street closings, and also help with the route on controlling traffic during the parade itself. We've had cases where people drive through barricades, yell at people out by barricades, move, I've got to go through there. And that gets a little frustrating, that people don't want to acknowledge the fact that they've known since March that we're going to do something like this in September and close these streets all down. So it's nice to have the police present and the sheriff's department's presence out there as well. And we want to thank all of them for doing that kind of work for us, because like I said, when you're talking about 8,000 to 10,000 people standing around downtown and all the way up to Howard Park and across back to the high school, that's a lot of people to try to keep an eye on, and hopefully nobody gets hurt or injured or anything like that.
Right.
So again.
Okay, so we got Kids Day with blocking off where the tent is on Thursday morning, and then on Friday you go to the north, east, and west sides of the square. Collector cars unlimited, streets around the square only on September 20th, 8 to 4 p.m. And then First Friday cruise nights, which will be June 5th and August 7th, just closing the inside of the square.
Right, and usually if we have some extraneous cars that are parked out there, those are residents that live up above. And since there's parking on both sides of the street out there, all the way around the square for residents downtown, we try real hard to get word out that you can't park there. But we've found in the past cars that have sat there for an entire week and not moved in this case. And so we would like to have some assistance, at least try and get the word out that these cars need to be moved because of the show just for that day. And we work real hard to do that. And then I'll also talk to Joe. Joe heard about the street closures with barricades and that kind of thing. Kawanis Club bought itself 70 orange cones this last year, and that's helped quite a little bit. It doesn't mean that Joe has to round up 100 things from across town to get them out there for us.
Yeah,
So
great.
we're glad of that.
Okay, so why don't we take these real quick, one at a time. Is there a motion to approve Kiwanis Kids Day closures?
So moved.
Just real quick, are any of these closures any different than last year?
No,
Okay,
absolutely none of them.
all right.
Moved by Esty, I think.
Second.
Second by Gandy. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay.
Thank you very
That's
much.
approved. Let's do collector cars unlimited. We're going to do these one at a time, just to make sure. So this again is September 20th from 8 to 4, and it's around the square only.
Right.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Gandy,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Good, that one's approved. And First Friday cruise nights, June 5th and August 7th, and we would just close the inside of the square. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Gandy, second by Ferguson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great, thank you.
Well,
You're all
thank you
good to
very
go.
much. I appreciate coming
And,
here and speaking to you guys.
We'll try to also make sure our staff is making some postings before these events too, so it gets out
That
there.
would help out tremendously.
Is that okay?
With our new forms, we're hoping that's the intended process, yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to resolution action items and ordinances. The first action item is consideration of the refund request. And we had this in the work session, so these are refunds to MIU regarding some of their water accounts. And so is there a motion to approve? Are these the amounts here?
Yeah, the total would be
The to-
$8,789.19.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, moved by Ferguson,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ferguson,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Esty.
Yes.
Thank you. That was approved unanimously. By the way, for people who didn't listen to the work session, these are just overpayments, so we're refunding their overpayments. Next action item is consideration accepting quotes for 4th Street sidewalk. Mel's going to explain what's going on here.
So you remember about a gazillion years ago when we did a paving project on 4th Street between Briggs and the railroad. So that project was funded primarily through DOT funds. And the project's been sitting out there in the DOT world for a while, waiting to close the project out. And the primary reason was some sidewalks that had been damaged, things like semis driving over the curb. And what had happened was we closed out the project for the contractor before DOT came and inspected everything. And it is a huge pet peeve of mine that they expect no trucks to run over sidewalks and not crack them. But it happens, and if that happens before DOT looks at it, it has to be replaced. And particularly in this case, it's not the fault of the contractor. So the contractor wouldn't have been paying for this replacement anyway, because again, it's semis driving over curbs. So what we have here are some quotes that were received to replace sidewalk on 4th Street, so that we can close out that DOT project and continue to get DOT money in the future. This was a quote package invitation. Only, I think it was sent out to half a dozen contractors, so 2 quotes were received. The low quote was from Drish Construction for $21,012.00. There was another quote from DC Concrete and Construction for $27,770. So the recommendation is to award this to Drish Construction, and then we will get DOT here as soon as possible to get that reviewed and get that project closed out.
Is DOT going to be paying for this?
No, we are.
If we had not closed out the project, would DOT pay for this?
No.
But maybe they would have seen it before the
would've-
truck drove over the sidewalk.
No, it would have been that the contractor who we had hired for it would have done the work. But at this point, it was sent to him. He's just not interested in doing the work, not because of it's just too small for that contractor to drive that far. So we would have paid for it anyway. It is the pitfalls of getting 75% funding that sometimes there are strings attached to it that are not.
On 4th Street, how come they never put a center line on the street?
I don't think it had one before, but Marcus, can you
There's
help?
no center line.
No, I don't believe.
There wasn't
before.
there wasn't one there before, but it was a concrete street before, so it had a center line joint that would have given the appearance of there being a center line. But typically residential streets don't have paint lines on it.
Is there any way to prevent this from happening, or does this happen because semis are around?
It happens on a lot of projects. I mean, the big thing is to get a DOT inspection before winter, and like on Highway 1, there were a few things that happened on Highway 1 as well that, but in that case, it was still, we had the contractor still on board and they replaced it. So there was, and it was a much smaller portion because it was, it was a few pieces of sidewalk over a much larger area. This one seems a lot larger because the project was a lot smaller. It's just because there's such a small margin of error. I mean, and if it goes through a winter and they shift at all, the only way is to just make sure that DOT gets there before anything moves or shifts or somebody looks at it wrong and and it's now out of compliance. I mean, because sidewalks have to be built to no more than 2% cross slope, and so I mean, if you go through one winter in Iowa, it's likely to shift. And so if DOT doesn't get their inspection done before winter, it's possible that it could be out of compliance by the time they get there. And so this isn't the first time that we've had this. It's this one's just different because we didn't have the contractor still under contract when we needed to do some fixing.
So
This is why I like roll my eyes every time you guys talk about a sidewalk project because I just, oh gosh. Not that you would have DOT out there inspecting a sidewalk program that we would do, but still, it's like there's never ending trouble with sidewalks.
If DOT had inspected it, would you be recommending that we do this work?
If DOT
Had already inspected it, and this had happened.
we wouldn't need to do it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the sidewalks would still be damaged, but so I guess answering I would not be recommending we do it because we have much worse sidewalks than what's here, but we need to close out this DOT project if we're ever going to have DOT money again.
Okay, so that's the distinction. The damage is not great, but
It's an obligation of the
DOT
DOT
found it,
funds.
and if we're going to be in compliance, we need to fix it.
Yes.
Otherwise, they won't give us any more money.
So is there a motion to approve?
Are we just accepting the quotes, or are we?
By accepting the quotes, you'd be authorizing Doug to sign the
Okay,
agreement with
we're
them.
accepting the quotes and then authorize. Okay. Okay. I move to accept the quotes for 4th Street sidewalk.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Moved by Esty, second by Toohill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Esty?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Ferguson?
Yes,
Gandy?
Yes.
Thank you, those approved unanimously. Next action item, consideration of amendment to engineering services agreement during Adams Avenue construction with French-Reneker and Associates. That's a project coming up.
Yep, good evening, council. Yeah, this is for an engineering service agreement amendment to provide engineering during construction for the Adams Avenue overlay project happening this spring. I'm gonna try to get a hold of the contractor, but I anticipate they're gonna be in here probably April to begin this project. We bid this project last fall. They will begin here in the near future, and this is to provide engineering services and construction observation for the project. The amendment is for $34,700, and we'll be setting up the pre-construction meeting, observing the contractor's work, reviewing submittals, and preparing pay estimates and any change orders as during construction as needed. I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, just for the public, again, this is Adams Avenue from Main Street to 7th Street?
6th Street.
6th Street.
Yep, 6th Street, yep.
Well, it says it here from 7th Street, so I guess that,
Yes,
okay.
yep. It's for, we designed all the way to 7th Street, but then we, due to budget, so we did it to, the contract construction's only to 6th Street.
Okay.
Yep.
so Marcus, just from my understanding, what occasioned the need for this amendment? Is it the additional?
We observe the contractor's work to make sure they build a project in compliance with the plans and specifications.
Okay.
It's kind of is for
And it
this.
wasn't an original.
Okay, that's what I
Correct.
was asking,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
what actually triggered the need for the amendment?
Yes, our initial amendment was just for design. Our initial contract was just for design.
Do we always need an engineer to observe during construction? Okay.
Well,
I'll come to my question.
Sorry.
So in this type of project, it, like a DOT project, it does have to be a certified person. In this case, it doesn't, with it being a local letting, but I need someone there. And it's not, French-Reneker does not have the engineer, I mean, Marcus does do occasional checks, but they have other people in the office that do the field observations. So it's not Marcus most of the time out there, but they are doing the field work.
Great. Thank you. So is there a motion to approve this engineering services agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Ferguson,
Second.
second by Gandy. Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ferguson,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Esty,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you, that was approved unanimously. Again, that project will start, sounds like in April. Next action item, consideration to set the public hearing for fiscal year 27 proposed property tax levy for Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. I'll just note that the current levy is $17.65 per thousand, and the proposed for this next fiscal year is $16.68911. So it has gone down a little bit, which is always good. So again, we need to set a public hearing for Monday, March 23rd. Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Moved by Gandy,
Second.
second by Ferguson. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Gandy.
Yes.
Ferguson,
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Esty.
Yes.
Thank you, that was approved unanimously. So again, we will have a public hearing on Monday, March 23rd to go over the proposed property tax levy. Next action item, consideration to set public hearing for an amendment to Title 14, Chapter 14.04.240. Again, for Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. Mel, are you gonna tell us what we're doing here?
No.
No?
Oh, yes, yeah. I was like, I thought this was the property tax. I'm like, no, Marcus is doing it. So, again, a long time ago, when the council, way before all of you guys, disbanded the water board, I think maybe Marcus might not have been born yet. That when the council disbanded the water board,
1990.
was it 90? Oh, so maybe Mark.
91.
He was not.
Some of the resolutions and some of the wording in it was not codified and ratified with city code. And so, in order to proceed with the annexation of Libertyville Road properties, we want to clear all of that up so that any water service agreements that the water board signed, such as somebody outside the city limits can have water on the condition that they have to annex someday in the future, we want to make sure that those are legally binding. So this is a multi-step process. When we started Libertyville Road, I joked, I said that we've got 50 years of past work to catch up with, and I didn't realize how close to it that was. So we're cleaning up some stuff related to Title 14, which is the water section, and I believe this specific item is related to the rates. We're gonna just start over with Title Section 14. So the rates, we're not proposing anything new at this time, but since we're gonna redo all of 14, we're gonna have a new public hearing on it.
It was recommended by Allers that we do it in the step process.
Yes, yeah. And one of the things, particularly the rates for people outside of city limits, getting all of that cleaned up because of how we disbanded the water board and making sure that we bring all of that in correctly. So we're gonna do the public, or all of this related to Title 14
Is Ayler suggesting they reduce the rate so that it's the same? Or leave it
These are
with a
the
premium?
exact same rates.
No, they are not, for the out of town. We had that discussion with them and they did not say anything about, we had that discussion with them and they're okay with it, I guess. Yeah.
So we adopt this, but then the rate increases on July 1st of 2026.
Yes, but that's already in the current code. This is the same exact rate structure that was approved, I believe, 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just bringing it officially
Okay.
and legally. I don't
The
want to
way
say
our
legally,
old
but
code was written was that the council gave the power to the Water and Sewer Committee, rather than when they disbanded the Water Board, they gave the power to the Water and Sewer Committee, rather than to the City Council themselves, and that's not legal. So we have to reissue everything related to the water.
I was just curious because it says effective July 1st, 2025, and since we're, so
Yeah,
that's the
and
only
so-
thing I was clarifying.
Yes, we're
Okay.
gonna reissue some ordinances or resolutions that the Water Board did, again, before Marcus was born. No, sorry, some of them were before I was born there, and because of making sure that they are all codified and ratified, and 100% legal as we move forward.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So again, right now, we're just setting the public hearing for the amendment to Title 14, Chapter 1404.240 from Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 7 p.m.
And I think for everyone who tuned out during all of that, to summarize, we are not increasing the rates other than what we passed 2 years ago. We're
Yeah.
not changing anything, we're just rereading the ordinance.
Yeah, we're making it legal.
Yeah,
A
sorry,
little more
my
legal than it was before.
questions were misleading.
Yeah. Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Esty,
Second?
second by Toohill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Esty?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Ferguson?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Great, thank you. We will move down to ordinance number 1277, consideration of establishing mulch loading fees. This is the second reading, and we do have Joe Hurd here to give us a little bit more information before I open the public hearing. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I'm asking for this to offset the cost of the loader that we use to load the mulch down there. I gave you a sheet there that kind of gives you kind of a rundown of how much we took in. We had 151 tickets last year. That amount coming in, and it's just a product that's very expensive. We have people that, when it's free, they'll come back in once, twice, 3 times in a day to get that, and I feel like if we charge a little bit for it, it might cut down on that, and maybe somebody, we are running out of that pile. If you look at the bottom there, the last time we ground was in 23, I'm trying to see, Parker treatment, 311 is when that happened. We will run out eventually. We still have the pile. They can get it anytime they want free down behind High B. There's a pile there usually, so it's not like they can't get it, but we are loading it, and that's extra manpower, it's extra fuel, it's extra hours on our skid steer.
Yeah.
So did we have 151 vehicles come in and pick up mulch? Is that what the top?
Oh, no,
line-
that's just, that's,
Just drop off.
that's the people that dropped off.
Dropped off. That's what I meant. I'm
With
sorry,
our
dropped
ticket.
off.
Dropped off either
Dropped
leaves
off.
or brush.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
There are times in the middle of, like in August and July, it's pretty slow for drop off, where all we do is just load mulch. They're not even dropping, they may drop off, I don't know, just not very much.
Right. Okay.
Brush.
Have we had any discussions about not loading mulch for people?
No,
letting
and
them
it's just
load
something
it?
that we've always done. It's just something that I do. I don't have to do it.
Right.
That I know of. There's no ordinance that says that I have to do it.
Right.
It's just something that we have, we did just to try and make it convenient. But
Right.
yeah, and even having the mulch. The mulch is not something that we have to do.
Right.
But it's a good amenity. It's a
Excuse me?
good amenity for the town. I mean, it's something that people value.
When it is, and when we first started 15 or 16 years ago when it only cost $2,000 to produce it. It was very good. I mean, the idea was to have a place for the community to bring stuff anytime that they wanted to. We were going to make compost and we were going to have mulch for everybody, and it was going to be great. But we've moved well beyond that. It's way more expensive than that, and it's just not the same world as when we started.
Yeah.
So,
We charge people.
yeah.
Joe, are you able to distinguish between in-town folks and some that
There
are
are out-of-town people getting mulch. There are actually people in the free mulch that come with a skid steer and load it up and take it to their hog confinements to use it for that. Yeah, it's being abused. But I mean, I don't want to take away the ability for people to come and load it up themselves.
Yeah.
Because there's people that love doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're paying we are paying for something that's being abused.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
not even a tenth of the taxpayers are using it. Maybe 500 people of this town are the ones that are using the mulch. I see the same people all the time.
Yeah.
I guess
Great, thank you.
the only reason why I brought up the loading too is because it seems like then people can get even, obviously if they have their own skid steer, that's one thing, but if they're coming and we're loading, high quantities for them, then.
I agree. I've kind of made it to where they're not going to get any more than a truckload, but still they can just come back, and it's just a constant.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody want to speak to this issue? Guess not, so I'll close the public hearing. And this is the second reading. So is there a motion to move this to the third and final reading?
So moved.
Moved by Ferguson,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ferguson,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Esty.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Under the mayor's report, I just have a couple things. Today, I received a snapshot of our county from Health and Human Services, and I put it at your stations just for your information. I thought there was some interesting information. I thought I would highlight just a few things. This compares our county with the state of Iowa. Life expectancy in Jefferson County is 77.7 years compared to the state of Iowa at 78.2. And I'm not going to do every single thing here, but addictive disorders for Jefferson County, reported binge drinking is at 20.4%, and the average is 22.5%. So we're below the average. I'd say that's a good thing. And alcohol use rates are the most misused substance. We have 14.1% of our population living below the poverty level, whereas the average in Iowa is 11.1, so it'd be nice to work on that a little bit. Housing and transportation, I don't think this comes really as a surprise, but in Jefferson County, we pay about 5% higher for our housing costs compared to Iowa. So at 28.6 versus the Iowa average at 23.4. 6.2% of households in Jefferson County do not have a vehicle. The average for Iowa is 5.4, so I found that to be interesting. In Jefferson County, adults with an unhealthy body weight BMI of 30% or higher is at almost 40%, whereas the average is almost 38%. But on a good note, our cancer rates and our death rates from cancer are lower than the average of Iowa, which is a good thing. So just some interesting statistics that was reported today at the ACT meeting, and then one of the gals shared that in the email, so I wanted to share it with you. The one thing I want to share is that I have secured the National Guard, the full concert band for July 4th. They're going to do a concert on July 4th. Really excited about this. It will be held at the Fairfield Arts and Convention Center. They are too big to fit in the gazebo, and they would have to set up in front of the gazebo. So with the thought of rain or 110-degree weather, I went to Lindsay and said, please, can we have it at the center there? So I'm finalizing those details. So anyway, please mark your calendars. Again, July 4th, 10 a.m., the full concert National Guard Band at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I'm really excited. So they'll do a lot of march music, probably. Yes.
Oh. Could you speak to the workshop you went to last Friday?
Oh, the workshop we went to last Friday. Well, if you'll help me out.
Yes.
So on Friday afternoon, all the community was invited out to the Cambridge Center at the fairgrounds to go over the Rural Housing 2.0 initiative.
Right.
And it was quite interesting. So they did a little survey on who you were as a citizen in Fairfield, and then we went around to these different stations and did some little exercises. One of the stations said, okay, let's think about this area of town. What would you like to see there? What kind of housing? Is it duplexes? Is it single family? Is it small? Is it, larger homes? That was one thing. I think some landscape things were other things. We looked at different types of sidewalks, different types of lighting, and so you were kind of dot plopping, as you say, dot voting. What did you call it?
Dotmocracy.
Dotmocracy. There you go.
That's good.
So I was about the 17th person through, I think, or maybe that was after me. But anyway, I'm not sure how many they ended up with by the end of the afternoon. But what do you want to add to that?
Well, if you remember, Council, last week we had Rachel Hillier came before the council and spoke about the workshop, which was sponsored by the Iowa State University Extension Service Rural Housing 2.0, which we are the pilot program for the state of Iowa, based on the success of our Rural Housing 1.0 a couple of years ago. So what we had present at the Cambridge Center at the county fairgrounds were all the students that were part of this program. So we had 18 students, I believe, from Iowa State, from Ames, who came up that morning and set up and had a workshop throughout the afternoon. They had a workshop that consisted of games, different things. They were asking us questions. We were putting dots on different maps to give them some ideas of what the issues are, what the challenges are, what the opportunities are in terms of housing here in Fairfield, particularly as we spoke about their focuses on rehabilitating or rehabbing older homes. So that was the focus of the experience. They're very enthusiastic. They would ask fundamental questions, which is what you would expect from students who are learning. And so which is helpful for us, because what they're going to offer from this, what they're going to gain from this with this information, is they're going to prepare a pattern book, as we spoke about. And that pattern book is going to go before their professors, and they're going to prepare even more extensive information that we can use to help address, again, our housing question, our housing challenge from the point of view of older homes. We're dealing with rentals, with Kading property, and some other things. We're working on new housing with the Sunrise Trail Division, but this is about rehabilitating older housing. And I know Bob Ferguson was president, the mayor, and it was well attended by various parts of the community, citizens. I think we had a county supervisor there, other people who are interested in the housing situation here in Fairfield, and I think they got a lot of good information. So I'm looking forward to what they produce in terms of their pattern book soon. Yeah.
I think it's good, they're asking the questions, what do we want to see in our community? They're not dictating to us.
Right.
And that's a really important point, I think, that the community is choosing what they'd like to see and what it looks like, and do we prefer this aesthetic versus that? And again, how do we fix that particular challenge? Strengths, weaknesses, so it's good. Anything you want to add, Bob?
Well, just kind of from a philosophical standpoint, I think all of us recognize that if we want to solve anything in our life, we have to, A, make it important, and then set goals and stay with it. And then things begin to move. And I got the distinct feeling that if we can take full advantage of what those bright young people actually create for us and stay with it, then we can really move the needle, in improving our existing housing stock. So I was pretty inspired by the experience.
Good. Awesome. Okay, thank you for bringing that up, Paul. City Attorney report?
Yes, 2 or 3 things. We've had some things come up as far as nuisances. I know that there are some things going on right now as far as job descriptions and filling positions. One of the complaints is about a site over by the old hospital. It's kind of invisible, but it's still back in a larger lot area that if you are a neighbor and you walk towards it and down into the gully, so to speak, you will find that there are probably a couple dozen cars back in there, and it could evolve into a junkyard. My approach on this as far as city attorney is I want it abated, but I'm also thinking it's probably something that when we get a code enforcement person that's fit within our job description, it might be more appropriate at that time, since this thing's been sitting there for probably 10 or 15 years with nobody bothered by it. But it is bothering some neighbors now. So, second thing, we have something going on uptown that I dealt with about 15 years ago. There was a chain link fence built around the back end of one of our taverns. They were having outdoor entertainment on weekends. It was going 1:30 in the morning. After some of the apartment sleepers upstairs didn't want to wait until 1:30 in the morning to go to sleep, it kind of came to a head. We had some discussions with the owners, and they agreed to tone it back to midnight. Since then, that's worked out just fine over in the neighborhood I'm in, as far as the chain link fence not being a noise resort. However, this is in another part of town right now, kind of reliving itself, and the proprietors of that establishment haven't seen the light yet. I'm expecting that we're going to need to have some kind of a dialogue, and possibly there's about 3 ways we can enforce this. I've talked to Doug, and I've talked to a couple of the council people about it, and I think we'll get something done here in the next several days, at least as far as having a sit-down. I think it should be with both our public safety and property committees as far as it being handled in an appropriate way. Probably one end of the spectrum could be dealing with the establishment's licenses. Another way of dealing with it, though, would be to try to improve and promote better relationship between the other neighbors that have properties there with leases and tenants, and that establishment that may not understand it's causing as much disruption as it is. But we've had a number of different things, including police involvement, a gun, and other things that we're not going to bring out to the council yet. But it's something where, when I say we need a dialogue, we need a dialogue. A third thing, I was talking to one of my neighboring attorneys for a city up the road from us here about a case called the Split Burger case. I don't know if any of you remember that, but about a year ago, the Iowa Supreme Court basically said that sidewalk policy is going to be, going forward, a policy that puts the liability fully on the city, and no exceptions except for ice and snow. Ice and snow has its own separate statute that permits cities to shift the responsibility to the adjacent property owners so that they shovel their snow and they salt their sidewalk. And they're responsible, and they need to cover it in their homeowner's insurance. Before Split Burger, it was easier to involve the adjacent owner Splitburger put it back on the city generally unless you can show that there is something with notice to the adjacent owner that is grossly defective about the sidewalk, and they've had an opportunity to resolve it. In the meantime, the city always has a responsibility where there's a dangerous condition on the sidewalk, and it has noticed to do something about it. So we're going to be in the bullseye first. The adjacent owner may be somebody that we join in, but Splitburger's going to be a defense for them most of the time. They were talking like some of the towns might promote an amendment to the ordinance that deals with the, or the statute that deals with the snow and ice exception, and see if they could get that also applied back after the Splitburger case to kind of overcome the case effect. I don't know where we want to go on that right now, but it wasn't anything that we thought about at the time the legislature was going through the funnel, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, and bills that they were going to consider yet this year. So that being said, when we have a couple of personnel changes with somebody that's going to be out inspecting again and so forth, sooner or later that's going to evolve to some of our sidewalks again. What did we do? 10 to 12 years ago was the end of the sidewalk?
25.
Really? Oh, my goodness, I've gotten old. 25 years ago, huh?
I was summer help when we did it last time. So
Okay, well.
You want to feel old, I feel old
Yeah.
too.
We have been pleading what we did decades ago as an affirmative defense because we have such a good policy about keeping track of our sidewalks, giving people 3 choices on how to fix them, and being responsible about it. Now, that's going to deflate our affirmative defense somewhat, knowing that it was that long ago. But anyway, we are going to have to take another look at that, and I think the other surrounding towns are too. And I'm not going to recommend a unconstitutional ordinance amendment to you, but if there's something that's going to be promoted as far as a change in the state statute, and that Splitburger case that has spun off of it, we'll be back to you with something probably going forward into the fall, and there'll be more explanation as we do that.
John, I'd really like to see us get in this rotation. Every year do a ward,
That's
so we can stay on top of it.
theoretically possible. It was popular the last time. I mean, I know
I
my.
had a lot of letters to the editor. It
Well,
was
it had a
very
lot
popular.
of. It had letters to the editor, but it also in my neighborhood, 8 neighbors got together, and everybody poured parts of their sidewalk as improvements. And I haven't seen that. I can't get one of my neighbors to rake his leaves, so at this point, it's a deal that I thought was pretty significant. Now, last thing I want to mention is we had a state rep here over at Mount Pleasant for about a decade named Joe Mitchell. Joe's getting ready. He's up at Clear Lake now, and there was a guest editorial in the Register over the weekend where he's advocating that the legislature should find a way to eliminate real estate property taxes, starting with taxes on homesteads. Now, homesteads, in my understanding, is one of the principal tax revenues that is in our budget every year. And I've listened to a speech by Joe before on this where his idea of how we offset that is something like what they were going to do to offset industrial and commercial rate changes when the assessors were told to downsize the level of those about 6 or 7 years ago, and then we were going to get backfill. Backfill ended at COVID, and it never really got back on the table. His idea is sales tax, excise tax, alternative kinds of tax instead of real estate tax. Now, the only problem with that is it's regressive to everybody that is a rental tenant or that doesn't own their home completely outright. And it's just one of those things that it hasn't been that popular in the past as a suggestion, but it makes for good reading to start out with. If you say, well, what if we just got rid of real property tax? I think it'll be kind of interesting for our council in the next month when we go through the things where we've got to publish and we've got to have public hearings and we've got to pass our final levy and give public notice about it to see if we have a turnout. Some years we have 2 people show up, so maybe this will be a year that's a little different with public awareness. But for right now, I would encourage you, if you have a chance, to look for something out there from Joe Mitchell. It was in the Register and some of the other area papers, and it's something that I think you're going to see more of as far as people proposing that they don't get taxed by us. And frankly, the tax levies that we have and so forth with House File 718 and a new File 604 and some other things going on as far as home rule and so forth, we're already pretty restricted. So this is probably something that's going to be out there for debate on the political spectrum, but it's also going to be something that we probably need to take a little time, read up on it, and understand that for our government to work, we have to have revenue. And it's easy to say, well, why don't we just eliminate this tax, these kinds of levies and so forth, and everybody will be happy. But the other things I reported to you tonight are what everybody's not happy about every month, and the services that people want and the way that they have to be administered and the due process you got to give, and the other things that take manpower. We're over a barrel. Plus, home rule tends to come up with innovative solutions, tends to be local as far as the way we work with things. But there's also an effort right now in Des Moines to trim what our home rule powers are. So if we're both on the defensive as far as what we can do with our own home rule ordinances, and we're going to be more and more limited as far as our taxing revenues, I think we have to be prepared to defend the ship here, so to speak.
Okay.
So,
Great.
my thoughts.
Committee and board reports, Ways and Means.
Not much to report. Ways and Means met last week. We just kind of finalized. We kind of went in the weeds and broke down a few of the lost requests and put together a number that we felt comfortable with. And we'll bring that to council after we do the tax levy gets approved.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, any
Paul,
questions?
or anything else, Paul? That no.
I think that's good.
It was a pretty short meeting, so.
Summary.
Okay. Personnel.
Thank you, Mayor. We met today and we had 2 items on our agenda. Number 1 was an added policy to our personnel handbook regarding payout of sick leave for employees who die while employed for the city. The second was we discussed the hiring of a new police chief. So for the first item agenda, essentially what we have right now in our personnel handbook is that employees are eligible for a payout of 50% of their sick leave if they've been working for the city for 20 years by the time they retire. And we thought that given recent events and just for equity's consideration, it might be a good idea to add a policy for employees who die while they are employed with the city, as long as they meet those, they're in good standing and they've worked for the city for 20 years or more. So that recommended language was something that we discussed at our personnel committee. well, we've got it. I don't know if everyone's had the chance to read it. It's up here.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Basically, it references our retirement provision, and basically just states that, you know, if the employee dies while they're working for the city and they're in good standing, et cetera, as I already stated. And I think we had one line that we struck from the policy, but everything else I think John thought was all right. So our personnel committee recommended that we adopt this in our handbook.
Could you read, or you read, or someone read the language?
Oh, yes, I will read it. Recommended language: death while actively employed. In the event of the death of an employee while actively employed by the city, the employee shall be considered to have separated from employment in good standing as of the date of death. If at the time of death the employee has completed the years of service required for retirement under this policy, the employee's unused accrued sick leave shall be paid in the same amount, percentage, and manner as provided to employees who retire pursuant to the retirement provisions of this policy.
And this is not unusual either. There's other
No.
communities and cities
Feels
that do
fair.
this,
Yeah.
do the same thing, yes.
Yeah.
We
It's
just did
not.
not have it in our policy.
And we're very fortunate in that this hasn't come up that many times. So, can we act on this for personnel handbook?
For the personnel handbook, that's done by resolution.
We have
so
to
we can
do a
that
resolution.
next time.
Okay. So, so that was our recommendation. The second item that we discussed, as I mentioned, was hiring of a new police chief. So right now, of course, we have our interim chief. We discussed there are a couple options and different ways that we could go about it. Obviously, first question would be internal versus an outside hire. And I think that, well, speaking for myself, I think certainly having somebody who currently works for the Fairfield Police Department serving as chief would be a benefit. You know, it's so new with the chief's passing and everything. We're not trying to, you know, undermine morale here, whatever is left, I guess. But hopefully anybody who's currently working for the Fairfield Police Department and would like to apply for the job will do so. The recommendation by the Personnel Committee is that we post the job for 30 days on 4 different platforms. We talked about posting it on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, our Fairfield City page, and then the Iowa League of Cities, ILOC. And so that was our recommendation. And although we do have a history of hiring from within, and again, we encourage applicants from within the Fairfield Police Department. Also, our interim chief suggested, and this is a really great suggestion, was that we involve the Fairfield Police Department in the hiring process.
Yes.
So the plan was basically, I think we'll get the resumes, personnel committee can review them, and maybe at that time we can decide how we structure some sort of committee to involve the FPD in reviewing them, and maybe some other individuals as well. But that was our second recommendation.
Right. I think part of it was we hope that we just get sufficient resumes in 30 days, but we do have the option if we need to extend it another 30, another 60, or another 60 days.
It's not gonna hurt.
Okay. So would you mind turning that into a motion, and we'll have the council make it official?
For both?
I think just
the hiring.
Just for the
hiring
hiring?
process, what the process is that you want to do.
Well, with
The
that
recommendation.
With that being the recommendation, I would move that we then post the job for police chief for 30 days on those 4 platforms mentioned.
Okay. So moved by Esty, is there a second?
Second.
Friendly amendment. Is this time to make official the idea of involving the current staff, police staff?
I would say not.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point.
Certainly, that's everybody's intention.
Yeah.
Okay, as
Yeah,
long,
absolutely.
yeah.
I think that that's a really good suggestion and something that I think we're all on board with.
Yeah, I think let's just get it posted first.
Yeah.
And then we can
Yeah.
move forward on that.
Okay.
So is there a second to posting this position on these 4 platforms mentioned? Oh, okay, second by Toohill. Any discussion? No, please call the roll.
Esti,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Ferguson.
Yes.
Thank you. City Administrator report
Madam Mayor.
and project report.
Yeah.
No, I had an email that I didn't have a chance to get onto the agenda. I had a request from the school district for a crosswalk and a rollout stop sign at 4th and Fillmore. So this would be the, they have 2 already on Fillmore, one at 5th and one at 6th, and they're requesting another one on 4th. I'll need to bring it back as an ordinance, so my question for the council is, do you want me to just bring that straight to council? I'm sure the Public Safety Committee wants to meet on this. Or have it in the work session, or just bring it straight to council and I can bring that, both the crosswalk and the rollout stop signs. Well, they are now turnable. The school district is using the turnable stop signs at all their locations. But both of them will need to come back as an ordinance. So getting the council's preference on how you want me to bring those back.
4th is the one that goes back into the ball diamonds, right?
It goes back
Yes.
into the ball diamonds, but I guess, so it's not whereas 5th and 6th, you're dealing with both north and southbound traffic, because that's where the middle school comes in and out. 4th, during ball season, you do have traffic coming from the north. There's a lot of walkers with 4th being such a collector. Iowa is you got a couple short residential streets out in that area. 4th is a collector in itself. I think a lot of people use 4th to avoid 6th. And so it does have a fair amount of traffic in the morning.
I've lived out in that area over 20 years, and it's after school especially, it's a busy intersection with
Yeah.
kids crossing right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just, if you're okay, let's just bring that to council.
Bring it back as
That would be okay.
I will do that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
So I don't know if the council is aware that last week we had the auditors in town, and I always welcome them because they are the ultimate gatekeepers, and they are the ones that let us know where we need to change and how we need to change it. And we run a lot of things by them, but I really appreciate them being here, and I'm glad that it's an exercise that we do yearly. And so they'll come at a later date to give a full report of our status and things that we need to change in the future. And we had a meeting last week with our downtown partners in a discussion in regards to our beloved public restrooms that had been closed since I've been here. So that's 3 years, and from my understanding, they've been closed for over a decade. And we've got quite the eyesore. And so I had asked that there was this big push to do something with those restrooms.
Hey, Doug,
Yes, sir.
you said downtown partners? Who
Down-
were they? Who were they?
So we got together with not only the Beautification, but the Chamber of Commerce, the CVB, the
Park and Rec.
Parks and Rec, the
Main Street.
Main Street. Yes. So those are the big groups that really have something to say about the impact of that. The biggest thing that we really decided on was the fact that we encourage people to maintain their properties. We have abandoned buildings, and that we want the city expects everyone else to fix them, and we have the very same thing. But we get lost into the weeds because the city and many others want to do something with it. So we have had that building tested for asbestos and doing the research and what have you. No matter whether we were to remodel that building or whether we were to tear it down, we still have to get DNR permits, and we still have to abate the asbestos. After discussing with the people that take care of that building, which are the Parks Department, the building in their mind and many other people's minds is it is time for urban renewal, and they would like to see that building removed, and then the reimagining of that space and what it looks like and what could be there. But essentially, the cost could exceed of adding onto it or remodeling it, the holes being punched in the walls, those sorts of things, versus just starting over and putting something else there. Could be about a wash. But then we would have another 50-year project or whatever the council decides to do with it, because you are the ultimate decision makers when it comes to that building. So the recommendation would be to proceed with moving forward with demolishing that building and then cleaning up the site. And some of it we will have to have contracted out because there is asbestos abatement that needs to be done. And then decide, and we could have city crews do some of the other, unhooking, saving the city money by doing some of that work in-house, but then reimagining what we do with that site at a later date, including all of those same partners that we had discussed with it in the previous weeks.
So the first step being to, the recommendation from this group is to demolish the public restroom.
Yes.
Start with that.
Yes.
And then there'd be another step or some other steps beyond that. But first do that.
Yes, sir.
Any idea of how much it would cost?
I really don't. It's not a very large building. We've torn down houses and they're running about 15 to 18,000. I think that with some of the work that our city crews can do, the abatement issues, I would hope that it would be about half of that. So 7 to 10, but that's a shot in the dark.
And they're good. As I understand from the meeting, there is budget that we have available.
We have demolition funds, yes. We do have some marginal demolition funds that we could apply to that. And again, it would be a different story. It would be minimal if we didn't have asbestos in the building. And from my understanding, it's just like the shingles and tar paper. But inside the building, insulation and stuff does not. I believe that's how that goes. And I'll talk with staff, and maybe we need to have it retested again to be double sure, and then turn that into the DNR. I can remember that when I first got here 3 years ago, I got a phone call from the DNR and asked me if I was demolishing those restrooms, and I didn't have any idea. Well, they had been tested the year before that, and it came across their desk, and they needed to be notified what our intentions were. So we actually have to file for a permit no matter what we do with that building.
How much do we have in demolition funds?
I think from my last recollection, I thought we had like 40 grand or less. We don't know for sure.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Not at this moment.
No, not right out of the gate, but we'll definitely figure that out.
I would just like to add that there were several different ideas coming forth, and I think about a public restroom, and so I think the group is going to explore a lot of those ideas and figure out which one makes the most sense.
We're going to stay with it.
Yeah. So you'll put something on the agenda for next meeting about tearing it down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I guess with that, we will adjourn, and I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Hal, and a quick second from Esty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great, thank you. Meeting adjourned.